Okay, so today I've decided to make a little building for some of my wargaming, I guess. We've been playing Infinity lately, and we don't have very many buildings. We just have some paper ones that they supplied us. So decided to make a little building with some windows in it, or a set of windows, and we're gonna go from there. So I've decided to go with just cheap popsicle sticks. I don't know how well it'll work. I've never done this before. So we'll see, but you can get like 1,000 of them for a couple bucks at a hobby store. I've laid out kind of what I want the building to look like. And my window is going to be, I think, about too high, because I don't want it to be too tall that, you know, shorter guys can't look over it. I don't want it to be too small that, you know, the whole body's exposed. So I figure that, and then I'll put one at the top just as kind of a support, because I feel like we could make a takeaway roof, and I don't know, it'd make the building better, I guess. So anyway, so that's my goal. I also figure that 6 should be tall enough for most people, or most of the guys. So that's what I'm gonna go for. We're gonna see how that works. No, can't. I've also decided that I'm just gonna use some super glue that I have lying around. See how it works. My thought is, I've tried sort of building stuff like this before, and I used hot glue, and that was a poor decision, because if you let it sit in your car during the summer, it will melt and get all over your car. So that is why I'm not going to try that again, now that I'm much more advanced in my crafting, you know. But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to use some super glue. I figure I'll attach some pieces to the back to hold them all. Find a nice straight piece. That's the one thing about cheap popsicle sticks, is you have to find the straight pieces. But so we're gonna try this. Eventually have to figure out how to cut popsicle sticks. I'm not sure how to do that yet. But okay, so I'm gonna go from here. My first thought is gonna have to make sure you get glue along the whole side of the stick, otherwise it won't connect all of the loose sticks. So we're gonna start there. Let that sit. While it's sitting, we'll start another one. Okay, so we'll let that one sit now. I guess if you weren't going to cut off the popsicle sticks, you could make a little tower out of these. Then you wouldn't have to cut anything. But then you'd have to make a floor. I haven't decided on that yet, so. Okay, so our building's slowly coming together. I mean, the outsides, at least. Gotta wait till everything dries, and then we gotta figure out how to cut off those extra parts. I've played with scissors before, and that doesn't really work. I suppose if you kind of started it with an X-Acto knife, that might work if you wanted to use scissors, but then you'd have to use an X-Acto knife and scissors. So I'm not sure if that's a viable solution, but we'll try that in a little bit. So I guess my end goal for this is to be able to put all the sides together. And the one thing I haven't thought about is the door, which could pose a problem, actually. Might just, once we figure out how to cut it out of this back wall over here. Because you have to have a door to get into a building. I guess they could go through the window, but then there's a whole lot of rooms, or walls, for no reason. So, I don't know. But, anyway, let's stop there and let it, I guess, dry for a bit, so. Okay, so while I was waiting for stuff to dry, I tried cutting some things. This I cut with an X-Acto knife, or at least cut about halfway and then broke it, and that was a poor decision. Suppose if you were able to cut all the way through, it wouldn't leave the little ripped up shreds of paper, or not paper, stick. This one I cut with some little wire cutters I had. Same thing. Doesn't cut all the way through, so you have to then break it at the end. It was a little bit better, but it still left the chunky stuff on the end, which I guess you could just cut off afterwards. Then I found a nice good pair of scissors, and that actually seemed to work pretty well. It kind of squishes the sides out, but I think we're probably going to just go with that. So, let it dry a little bit longer now. Okay, so there's one of those big walls that still has to dry, but I've decided I'm going to work on the short window wall real quick. It's going to be a little bit different because, well, there's a big gap in it, so it makes it a little bit difficult. So I'm trying to make it line up the same side with that wall, and then we're going to put some little joiner pieces on there like we did with the other one. But this time I think we're going to put the glue on these ends so I don't have a whole bunch of extra glue on my stick. Okay. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And we'll try and make it straight because I keep bumping it. And it might take a couple tries to get this right, who knows, but we're gonna just do it this time and call it good. You might take more time and try a little bit harder, I guess, but my thought is this building will be pretty easy to make. Pretty simple, won't take a whole lot, but it'll give you a good little building to play games with, so I'll let that dry for a bit too. Okay, so I think we've let it dry for a bit now, so I'm gonna move on to the next step, which I guess is cutting off these ends. So, yep, it's not moving, at least this one's not, so we're gonna try this. We're gonna go pretty slow, because I don't want to rip it all down the back. Oh, There we go. There's one gone. Trying to figure out the best way to do this. Three hands would be nice, but you know, it's not possible. So it was a little bit still wet, but anyway. That's decent looking. And we could, I'm sure if you cared more, you could probably sand off the edges or something. I don't know. I'm just lazy, so. I'm keeping all those extra chunks just in case, you know, need something later on to make something else. I don't know. Be a half stick for something. Maybe a small little fence or something. Who knows? I'm sure you can make a lot more intricate stuff than just a small little square building. Popsicle sticks, but you know, it's just what we're starting with. Who knows? You could make a big old castle or something. The only thing stopping you is yourself, I guess. So. Well, that and your imagination. But if you make it out of sticks, is it still your imagination? I don't know. But anyway. So there's our three walls. This one still kind of wet, so I'm gonna let that sit for a bit longer. Okay, so I'm gonna let this one dry a little bit longer because it's still not quite dry, but these ones are pretty good. And so I think we're gonna, well, I think we're gonna try and make the door, I guess, now that I think about it, because, well, we can't really put them together unless this one's already cut, so. I guess we'll just kind of wing it, and we'll try and cut carefully so we don't hurt anything. There's probably a better way to do this, I will say that, but man, because it's already coming apart. Might have to re-glue it, I guess, at the end. It's losing half of its support when you cut it apart from the other side, so. That could have just been because I hadn't let it dry well enough, but I don't know. Something to try differently next time, I guess. Let things dry completely before you move on. Well, either way, since we've started it, we might as well finish it. So. No. Well, that'll at least give us a start. You guys can show me up a lot better than that, because, well, we all saw how poorly that went. But the next thing we have to figure out is how to attach everything. Like I said, I didn't really think this through at the beginning, so maybe more preparation would be best on your part. But this will at least give you a start. It's pretty simple. But I thought I left enough room on the edges to kind of connect it like that. So, I guess we'll get going on that in a second. Okay, so we're going to cut these off now. Okay, so we pretty much have our little building. I guess what we'll try and do next is attach it all together. Let's just put some glue on the edge here. Try and keep it kind of at that 90-degree angle. So with that back wall taken out, it'll just lead to moving around, I guess. Okay. After all is said and done on this one, I'm not sure if I planned it out right for a roof. The edges on some of these might make it just too big for the popsicle sticks. But this at least gives a little building, a starter building, let's say. So, I guess we'll just so, not too bad. Like I said, could use a little bit more forethought, but pretty simple. Start there. If I was going to continue, I would see about adding a roof, but like I said, I think it's a little bit off size-wise that the roof would fall through unless we did some like double stick action. So we'll just stop there. We'll try something different next time. Thanks.